Running goals, love them or hate them, they're something for me that puts a fire in my belly, gives me a purpose and gives me something to aim for every time I step out that door for a run. What is up guys, Andy Forrest Team Runner here. Welcome back to another video, and today I'm giving you guys my 2023 running goals. So in less than 2 weeks time, we're going to be entering 2023, which is crazy to think when I just remember setting my 2022 goals only what feels like yesterday. So I'm excited now to sit down, recap on what we set this year, and then give you my new, refreshed and revised and hopefully a little bit more sensible goals leading into 2023. As I move into my 8th year of running, I'm excited to share what I'm going to be aiming for next year. So if you're excited for today's video guys, make sure you give it a like, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel for weekly running content, and let's recap on 2022. So let's roll through these 2022 goals, and of course as we're doing this I'd love to hear two things from you. Number one, are you a goal setter or are you not really a goal setter? Do you just love to go out there and run and see what you achieve in the year, or do you like to set yourself goals? If you do, I'd love to hear if you achieved those goals. How did you get on? Did you tick the boxes that you wanted to tick? So as I roll through mine, you can have a think and let me know in the comments below, and let everyone else know as well. And of course, let us know what your plans are for 2023 as well. So number one was to set a PB in the 5k, 10k, half marathon and marathon distance. Goal achieved with the 10k and the half marathon. Goal failed with the 5k and the 10k. Didn't even run a 5k this year. It was entered, didn't end up running it. And London Marathon, you guys know the story. However, a massive goal achieved with the 10k. Delighted to have that 33:38. I feel like that is the pinnacle of this year. And I'm starting to realise as I get older and the more I run that actually 10k is probably my strongest distance. I find myself better suited to the shorter stuff. I feel like my height and my power works well over the shorter distance, but works against me as I get further into the longer distance. Half marathon, 75, 17, 14, somewhere around there. A good PB, but could be better. Sub 75 next year, fingers crossed. Goal number two was run 2,500 miles. As of recording this on the 20th of December, I have 11 days left and I am on 2,459 miles, meaning I've got 11 days to run 41 miles. Fingers crossed, touch wood, all being well, no injuries please, I should achieve that goal. So I'm very, very happy with that. Goal number three, complete a mini trail block of training. The reason I set that was 2 years ago, I did a 6-week block leading into the Brecon Beacons Mountain Marathon. It was an amazing training block. You lose all speed, you gain a massive amount of strength. It was incredible. Tempo runs over big hills, long runs where you're walking, hiking up big hills, 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 foot of climbing each long run. Oh, it was incredible and I loved it. And I wanted to replicate that this year. I didn't achieve that, but what I did do, and that I'm really, really happy with it, is over the summer, I basically adapted all of my road training to the trails. I basically adapted all my interval sessions to fartlek work, and I took all of my stuff onto the trails, which I do a lot of my workouts on the trails anyway, but I really adapted it to work on the trails and just build strength. So I didn't quite lose as much speed as I normally would, but I still built a good amount of strength. And I'm really happy with how I did that, and I'm really happy that I will continue to do that into next year as well. Number four was to do group runs in the forest. Didn't happen. You guys know what happened earlier in the year. Life was a little bit hectic in the first half of the year. Second half of the year, work's been hectic, and to be honest with you, it's not something at the moment I feel like I can schedule in. I'd love to be able to do it, but weekends are just so busy with kids and family and stuff. So I'm going to scrap that goal for the moment. Hopefully that will come back in the future. Number five was to stay injury free. I set that goal back in January when I was injured with a calf injury. So once I came back from the calf injury, I've had a pretty good year. I'm not gonna lie, it's not been completely injury free, but I've only been kept out for 2 or 3 days at a time. I think I've had 1 week off, one solid week off this year when my back went completely. And other than that, I've had a pretty good year. So one of my better years, in fact. So although it wasn't completely injury free, it was a pretty darn good one. So I'm gonna give myself a cheeky tick for that one. Number six was to complete half of a summer racing series. We have 2 racing series around this parts of the woods here. We have Hereford Couriers 5k, which runs April, May, June and July, I believe, and they have a 5k once a month. We have Chepstow Harriers who run the Rosin Relays, which is May, June, July, August. That's a 4-mile race. I picked the Rosin race this year and I wanted to run 2 of them. I ran 1 of them. Next year, that goal will be rolled over for sure. Number 7, the final one was to break 18 minutes in the Mallards Pike park run. Didn't even run a park run this year, so that was an epic fail. Here we go then, 2023 goals. Let's roll into this and let's see what we can do next year. Goal number 1 is going to be to run 2,700 miles. So basically, if you followed my goals and followed the channel for a while, I'm taking that increment up very slightly year in, year out. I don't want to do massive jumps, but I'm just hoping that those lifetime miles add up, and ultimately just taking it up 100 or 200 miles a year is the goal. I think I was like 2,300 the year before, 2,400 last year, or I think I just fell short last year, but I've gradually every year just creeped it up. I'm going to be brave and jump up 200 miles from 2022 to 2023, and I'm going to shoot for 2,700 miles. Goal number 2 is going to PB in the 10k and the half marathon. I'm not going to say the 5k and the marathon for these reasons. Well, let's start with the 10k and the half. I want to put a real emphasis on those 2 races next year. I feel like my 10k is my strong point, and I feel the half PB is within my grasp. That sub 75 is really frustrating me. So I've just got to go out there and do it. With a PB of 33, 38 in the 10k, I really should be able to go and run a sub 75. Still haven't done it. It's got to be done. As for the marathon, that's coming up in the next goal. 5k, I'm hoping to run a 5k next year. I'd love to PB, but again, if I don't do it, I'm really not going to worry. 5ks are not very fun. I don't really enjoy them, but I do know my 5k PB is very soft, and I do need to get that down. Goal number 3 is going to be to run a marathon well. There are 2 parts to this goal. One is that I just want to run a marathon, let's define well, shall we? Well is where it doesn't have to be a negative split, doesn't even have to be an even split, it can be a positive split, but I need to be able to hydrate, and I need to be able to not fall off a cliff at the end of a marathon. I don't mind if there's a bit of a pace drop. I appreciate that marathons take time to master, but I feel like I've just really failed at this distance in so many occasions. I've got to stop putting pressure on myself to run certain times and stuff. That 2:44 lives in the back of my head. I know I can beat it, but at the same time, I know I can't beat it until I get my stomach issues sorted and I get my hydration issues sorted as well. So 2023 is going to be the year of experimentation, and it is going to be a real focus, especially in the second half of the year. The second half of the year is something I want to really focus on: marathons and those longer distance work. And for me, the first part of the year is going to be the shorter training. I will be doing a spring marathon. I will announce that shortly, but second half of the year is going to be really trying to dial in that hydration and focus as well. So the first marathon in the year is going to be no pressure, no time goals. Go out there and try and run something consistently. And then later on in the year, when fingers crossed I've achieved a relatively decent marathon in the spring, I will try and dial in a little bit more and get a little bit more focused for an autumn marathon then. So goal number 4 is going to be to run 2 trail races next year. So I did 1 this year and I want to up that to 2. My goal is after my spring marathon to really focus on a bit of trail work for a month or 2. I want to get some trail races in the months of May and June, or maybe even end of April, depends how I feel after the marathon. To be honest with you, it's something that I want to gravitate towards more as I get older. I feel like the trails is my calling, but at the same time I want to work on my speed. So trying to integrate a bit of trail work in there in the year as well is somewhere where I just feel free, can go and run there and just do what I want to do. So yeah, I can't wait for that one, and I'm really hoping that I can announce some of those races too as well. And number 5, I'm going to carry over running half of one of the road race series, whether it's the Hereford Couriers 5k or if it's the Rosin Relays. I want to run 2 of those next year. As I said, I had 3 booked this year, only made it to 1. I want to get to 2, especially the Rosin ones, because I absolutely love that loop. I love that race. It's such a flat and fast course. It's absolutely brilliant. So that one is going to be rolled over, and I really want to focus on that next year. Number 6, focus on longer distances in the second half of the year, just as I alluded to with the marathon. So what my goal is going to be, let me give you a structure of the year. So I'm going to be starting marathon training on the 15th or 16th of January, right through to my goal marathon in April. From there, I'm going to be migrating to the trails. I might still be doing shorter distance training at that point, but I do want to do some trail races, and I want to take everything to the trails. As the summer builds up, the trails is where I'm going to be, adapting my training to work on the trails, and I can't wait for that. But then I'll be switching focus sort of midway through the summer for the autumn marathons, and potentially maybe 2 marathons in the autumn. I just don't know if I can find them spaced apart, whether I use one as like a training run or one as a goal race and then see how I recover and do another. I don't know. I haven't planned it out yet, but I've got to be honest with you, I just want to get better at those longer distances. I'm hoping that if my strength training continues and I can get my hydration sorted, I feel like I might be able to start mastering that, and I just want to casually go out there and continue like I did last summer to run those long runs that I love doing out on the trails and just spend time on feet. I can't begin to tell you how much happier that sort of training makes me, how much I love it. Those summer months are there for the trails to be used, and I cannot wait for those sunny mornings to roll around. So those are my 2023 goals. So my goals this year are less novelty based, like the park runs and the group runs and stuff like that, and more focused on performance and also enjoyment. I think those are the two factors that have come together to make this list this year. So only 6, but for me, it's all about what my focus is going to be in 2023 and just to be able to enjoy what I do. I think sometimes with goals we can strip some of the enjoyment away, and for me it's getting that fine balance between pushing yourself but at the same time getting out there and doing what we love. And the fitter I become, the more I appreciate being able to go out there and run for 2+ hours on the trails, because I come home with a big smile on my face and just appreciate that I can go and do that. And I think sometimes that washes us by and we just forget that we've done that, and we come back, oh, I've run 2 hours 20 today, but it wasn't as good as I wanted it to be, rather than going, I ran 2 hours 20 today, out on the trails on the beautiful mornings. That's exactly what life is all about. So those are my 2023 goals. As I said, I'd love to hear what your goals are down in the comments below. Please let me know. It'd be great to hear how you got on this year and what your plans are for next year. That's it from me today though, guys. If you enjoyed it, please do give it a like, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel for weekly running content, and as always, I'll see you on the next one. Until then.